Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. No, the secret Bandicoot character is not this giant mecha open mouth Crash Bandicoot. I wanted to keep it a secret as long as I could. So, the thumbnail and the title of this video is talking about one of the least most discussed Bandicoot characters in this franchise. People are always talking about Crash Coco, Tawna Crunch, and now that the Trophy Girls have made a reappearance in Nitro Fueled, everyone's talking about them. Then you have the alternate version of Tawna from Crash Bandicoot 4. However, this character has been around for years and years. Over 10 years, this character has been in this franchise. And I rarely see anyone discuss him at all. Heck, even the fake character, well, I shouldn't say fake, the scrapped character, I guess you could say, Crush Bandicoot. Crush gets discussed more than this character. And Crush doesn't even exist. So anyway, with all that out of the way, I'm going to show you who I'm talking about. I'm going to give you a little history lesson on him, and give my opinion on some appearances that I think he has made that other people have missed. That's right, I'm talking about Carbon Crash. Carbon Crash is a play on the phrase carbon copy, because Carbon Crash is an identical copy to Crash in every way. He has all his abilities and powers. It's debated if he has his memories as well, but the only thing that changes is his color. So the little that I do see people discuss of Carbon Crash, back when Nitro Fueled was coming out, people were saying Carbon Crash could be an alternate skin, and then people were saying, oh, well, Carbon Crash doesn't exist. He's not even in a game. People make headcanon rules as to who can and cannot exist, and the one that I kept seeing people say is, well, Carbon Crash was never in a cutscene, so therefore he wasn't in the game, and he doesn't exist. But to me, that's terrible logic. There are plenty of lab assistants, different variants and costumes, that never appear in cutscenes, but the lab assistants exist, so how come Carbon Crash has to appear in a cutscene in order to exist? And with the most recent games, now the skins that you wear, which are non-canon, do exist in the cutscenes now. So if you're wearing the Caveman Crash Bandicoot skin, and it's in a cutscene in Crash 4, does that mean Crash Bandicoot is now a caveman? So the whole reasoning behind cutscenes, it's flawed logic to me. So even though this is a minor character, he actually has an origin. He's not just there. A short cartoon was created that was called Have Another. I'm going to show you a little clip of it right now. I don't want to play the entire clip because it's almost 2 minutes long, but I'm going to show important portions of it. So Dr. Cortex captured Crash, and he's going to use one of his new inventions to make a duplicate of Crash Bandicoot. So after he creates the Carbon Crash, Nina comes out and accidentally cuts Crash's cage and releases him, so Cortex tells the carbon copy to attack Crash. So now there are a whole bunch of them, because in the ruckus, Cortex drops his invention and creates a whole bunch of other crashes. So now there's a whole mess of these carbon crashes. And now I'm going to play a little clip on the end to show you what becomes of them. So Crash is going to use the invention to get rid of them, but then has second thoughts. And that's it. So Cortex has a new invention, the Make Another Inator, and he creates at least 12, so over 10 Crash Bandicoots, and at the end, they stay on the island. So I could hear people say, well, what happened to them? If there's so many Crash clones, why don't we see them in future installments of the franchise? And believe it or not, I think that we actually did see the Carbon Crashes make another appearance in the game. We just didn't notice it. And I believe they were in Crash Bandicoot Mutant Island. Let me explain. So chronologically, Mutant Island takes place in between Crash of the Titans and Crash Mind Over Mutant. So the short shows how Carbon Crash came to be. Then Carbon Crash actually is in Crash Bandicoot, Crash of the Titans. And then he goes on to make an appearance in Crash Mutant Island. Let me just show you a clip of Carbon Crash in action on Crash of the Titans. So this video clip comes from a interview, a fake kind of interview where Crash is interviewing the staff of Radical Entertainment. Don't worry about this. The interview is not important, but the gameplay footage is, and it shows Crash and Carbon Crash playing together. So as you can see, the Crash and Carbon Crash play together, and Carbon Crash can even jump into Crash's backpack on Crash of the Titans. So like I said, he appeared in the short, or he originated in that short, then he was playable in Crash of the Titans, and then we're going to jump into Crash Mind Over Mutant, and I will show you his appearance there. So the story goes, while Crash is quietly resting, a panicked Bandicoot arrives. Crash, a giant flying machine, just took your sister Coco. Smells like Cortex's evil doing. I believe that the panicked Bandicoot is a Carbon Crash. You only see the cutscene. He's on the Bandicoot mutants that don't have names. They're in 2 of the cutscenes, and they're in the game. You have to fight them. So this is the first appearance of one. It's just called the Panicked Bandicoot. And then here is his appearance in his in-game model. As Crash saves him, he's being brainwashed by Cortex, but with a headset. Crash saves him, and then he teleports away. There are multiple Bandicoot mutants scattered throughout the game. I'm not sure of the exact number, but like I said earlier, there are at least 12 Carbon Crashes. So if there are multiple Bandicoots on the island that have no introduction or no explanation where they came from, isn't it likely that these are just redesigned Carbon Crashes? They look a lot like him, don't they? And I must say that when you change from cutscene to cutscene, it almost looks like they had different artists do all the illustrations. So you have Crash, and who I am calling a Carbon Crash in this one. And then the second cutscene of the 3, after Crash rescues Coco. Look at Crash, looks almost entirely different in this one. It's Coco, and she says, Crash, all the Bandicoots have vanished. Look at all these machines on the ground. Cortex has just caused a distraction to take us away and hypnotize our friends with these machines. We absolutely must free them. So, they're friends, multiple Bandicoots. And like I said, if you look at this image compared to this image, Crash looks completely different. And then if you go from this one to the final one, he looks different again, as does Crash, as does the Carbon Crash. So this is the Carbon Crash from the final cutscene. This is the Carbon Crash in the first cutscene. So the art can't be like completely consistent with itself. So I would go with the in-game model to get the best representation of this character, and which I believe it looks remarkably like Crash. So everyone, that's the end of the video. I hope I educated you a little. If you haven't seen this short before, I hope you enjoyed it. If you think you saw other appearance of Carbon Crash that I myself missed, please let me know in the comment section. And if you disagree with me and think that the random mutated Crash Bandicoot looking characters from Mutant Island who had no explanation aren't the Carbon Crash clones, just let me know what you think, who you think they are, and as always, thank you for watching and subscribing and commenting and all that great stuff. If you made it to the end of this video, let's say Golden Wumpa can be the word to post. I got a couple more ideas. Canadian Guy A released a video talking about the multiverse that I really want to debunk, but it's going to be a longer video, so that might take a little longer to produce. But I appreciate you guys, and you take it easy. Have a great night.